You're listening to the Life with Old Dogs podcast, and I'm your host, Dawn Mimnaugh, primary caretaker of all of our wonderful senior German Shepherds right here at Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary. Hey there, folks, and welcome back to Season 4 of the Life with Old Dogs podcast. So last season was a super duper long season. I mean, I was beginning to think we were never going to get finished. We covered the 20 most common health issues in senior German Shepherds. We had our blog post and our podcast coincided with one another. All of that is on our website. And for those of you who subscribed to our website, wpsgss.org, during Season 3, you received a free PDF ebook of the whole season, the 20 most common health issues of senior German Shepherds. So thank you for that. And I hope you hang on to that. You can print it out. Excuse me, keep it on your computer, do whatever you want to use as a reference. So as we were doing that season 3, it occurred to us that our episode on degenerative myelopathy got the most attention. And I'm not surprised because we're senior German Shepherd lovers. You're here because you have an older German Shepherd and you want to make sure that he or she has the best life he can possibly have. But sometimes things come up health-wise and you want to know more about it so you can help your fur friend through those common health issues. Degenerative myelopathy really, it just really shocked us how many people were actually interested in that particular topic. But then again, maybe it shouldn't, because German Shepherds are one of the most common breeds to have, or to possibly have, degenerative myelopathy. So we had something else planned for Season 4, but decided to put that on the back burner for now and decided to take a deep dive into degenerative myelopathy for Season 4. I'm letting you know right now, it's not going to be nearly as long of a season as Season 3 was. Season 3, I think we started it in December, and I don't think it ended until March. The end of March, and then we had to take a break for production purposes and just to take a break. So this is going to be the length of what I would consider a normal season. Less than 10 episodes for sure. I think we're probably right around 5 or 6. But anyway, so just to let you know, we have several guests coming on this season. We have the fine folks from Shade Out DM, of course, the wonderful folks from Dr. Hemp Dog CBD oil, and we have the folks from Walking Wheels / Handicap Pets coming on, and I think there might be one other, but they're the ones I know of off the top of my head. So I'm really excited for those episodes and to bring you that information. So, of course, all of those guests, I mean, they're like walking encyclopedias about degenerative myelopathy, anxiety, pain, mobility issues, things of that nature, which all tie into degenerative myelopathy. So I'm so excited and really honored. I was so honored to be able to speak with them, to bring you all of this information, to arm you with as much information as possible, because degenerative myelopathy it's scary. It's a scary diagnosis to get. We've been there here at Woody's Place 7 different times so far with residents who have had degenerative myelopathy. And honestly, that diagnosis, it really does not get easier to accept. And the only way it's ever going to go away is if people, whoever it may be, people who are breeders, people who have dogs they just think should have puppies or whatever, until dogs who have that gene, who carry the gene for degenerative myelopathy, stop being bred, then we're always going to have degenerative myelopathy in the canine population. So that's the only way to get rid of it, is to stop breeding dogs who carry the degenerative myelopathy gene. And I don't see that going away anytime soon. So on that note, knowledge is key, and we here at Life with Old Dogs are hoping to provide you with as much knowledge as we possibly can to help you help your senior German Shepherd should he or she have degenerative myelopathy. All right, so I'm going to back up here. We already have a blog post up on degenerative myelopathy. I'll make sure I include the link to it in the show notes. So I'm not really going to go over it again fully here in this podcast, but for those of you who don't know what degenerative myelopathy is, it's really a merciless neurological disorder that senior German Shepherds can face anywhere between typically like 7, 8, 12, 14 years old in that time frame. And it typically occurs in males more than females. It is not something that happens overnight. Okay, I want to make that clear. Degenerative myelopathy is a slow, progressive spinal cord disorder, and it is similar to ALS in humans. It's very similar, and basically, what you see, and you may not even notice it right away unless someone points it out to you, or you're looking at your dog directly as he's walking. You may notice that he's not able to maintain his balance or coordination in the back end like he once did. You may notice that he might be dragging one foot more than the other. Rear foot. It's always the back feet, folks. That's where it starts, in the back end. Maybe he can't lift it high enough, or maybe he's scraping his knuckles as he's, walking up stairs or some sort of an elevation. You may notice that his toenails on his rear paws aren't the same as they once were. Like maybe you had to clip them, but maybe you don't have to clip them all anymore. Like particularly the ones in the center. Maybe his claws on the outside, or his nails. I shouldn't say claws, his nails on the outside, you still have to clip, but the 2 nails in the center of his paws, you don't have to clip. They're worn down, and you're not really sure why. So that's really how it starts. And then eventually he or she, his muscles in the back end, they start to atrophy. He can't get himself up out of a sitting position. He can't really support himself when he stands. And then eventually it leads to paralysis. And eventually it turns into respiratory failure, unfortunately, because of the chest muscles becoming paralyzed. So that's basically, in a nutshell, the progression of the disease. As far as the length of the disease, how long it takes until the senior German Shepherd finally succumbs to the disease, it's not the same for every dog. There are different stages to the disease, and one stage can last a year, another stage could last a day. Each dog is different. And we've had 7 different dogs here with degenerative myelopathy. And none of them were the exact same. I mean, some, obviously the progression of the disease is the same, but none of them were the exact same in the way they handled it. Some of them went with the flow a little bit more. Some of them went in their dog cart with ease and absolutely loved it, and others hated it and wanted to bite our faces off as we were attempting to help them with their mobility issue by putting them in a dog cart or a harness. So each dog is different. And, it's okay if your dog isn't accepting the wheel cart or the harness with ease. It takes a little bit of time, and some of them just don't. All right, and I'm briefly going to mention how degenerative myelopathy is diagnosed. So there is no definitive test for degenerative myelopathy. It needs to be ruled out. So basically, your veterinarian is going to look for other things like a herniated disc, an injury, or a stroke, or even cancer. And basically, they should provide your dog with a full physical, X-rays, CAT scan, MRI, any sort of neurological testing to do that. One of the tests they may do is they will take your dog's back paw and they'll flip it so that the paw is now facing the back of the dog. It's not, the pads aren't on the ground. They're actually up in the air behind him. And if your dog has degenerative myelopathy, he won't know to flip his paw back over. Basically, he'll be either slow to do it or he won't do it at all. And that right there is when I was talking about the nails scraping or worn out knuckles on the back of their rear paws. That's called knuckling under, and that's a sign of degenerative myelopathy. So there is no definitive test. Okay, they're going to do other things like I said, physical blood work, CT, MRI, all that good stuff. Okay. All right. So basically, if you are confronted with the diagnosis of degenerative myelopathy, your life it's going to change. You're going to become a caretaker 24/7, maybe not right away, but eventually you will. And it's imperative to be with your dog through this whole journey. And it's a bumpy ride, folks. It's not easy. But in the end, it's worth it. It's not even in the end. It's just worth it throughout the whole journey, even though it's an incredibly bumpy journey, because you love your senior German Shepherd and you want to do whatever you can for him. At least I do anyway. And I hope you do too. So there are ways that you can do that. There are lots of ways that you can do that. And we're going to discuss this during season 4. Some of the ways are, of course, healthy diet, top-notch medical care, therapies, different therapies for your senior German Shepherd, hydrotherapy, acupuncture, massage, laser therapy, ways to keep them comfortable mentally with CBD oil will help them with their anxiety as their disease progresses and they basically become a prisoner in their own body. CBD oil definitely helps. We'll give you tips on how to keep them mentally stimulated if they are in fact coming up toward the end and they really don't have a whole lot of strength to get up and pull themselves around in their wheel cart too often. There are games that you can play with them, food games and other games that you can play with them to keep them mentally stimulated and happy, because their brain is completely fine throughout this whole journey. Their brain is completely fine. Again, it's just like ALS in people where they're cognitive. They're cognitive of what's going on. Unfortunately, it's their body that's failing them. So we're also, like I said, going to give you lots of suggestions and tips on how to help them with their mobility, from wheel carts to harnesses, to drag bags if you need it, to booties, and even what wipes to use because they do become incontinent throughout this journey. So and mats, even like washable mats to put under your senior German Shepherd if he's having accidents, unbeknownst to him, of course, on his bed. So it's an unpleasant topic to talk about. It really is. And I was really feeling this way about halfway through the 20 most common health issues in senior German Shepherds. I was just becoming downright depressed over giving you all this information, researching it and giving you all this information. I was like, wow, this is just really depressing. And I felt like I sounded like a broken record. But I also feel like I need to put those needs aside because clearly people want to know about degenerative myelopathy in senior German Shepherds, or else we wouldn't have gotten the response that we did during that one episode in season 3. So that's what we're going to be doing in season 4. If you have any questions that you would like answered or to know more about, we do have a Facebook group. It's Woody's Place Degenerative Myelopathy Facebook group. I'll make sure I put the link in the show notes here. Feel free to go there and join that group. It is, first of all, let me just say, there's no advertising or fundraising or anything like that allowed on there. We seem to have, we've had some issues with that. But basically what it is you can go there and you can ask questions. If I see it, I'll try to help you with an answer or point you in the direction of someone who may have the answer. Other people who are a part of the group may have the answer and chime in and give you the answer or provide you with suggestions. Basically, it is a support group for people who have degenerative myelopathy dogs. And it doesn't have to be a German Shepherd. Obviously, there's like 100 types of different dogs that get degenerative myelopathy. So it could be a corgi, a boxer, whatever. It doesn't matter. DM is DM. It doesn't discriminate, doesn't know breeds. And that's how I'd like that group to be. So if you have a dog with degenerative myelopathy, don't feel like because it's not an older German Shepherd, you can't join that group. That's not the case at all. All right. So that's it for this episode, folks. Again, it's going to be a little shorter this year. And next week, our first guest is going to be Tawny from Shade Out DM. So they're a DM research group, and I just loved recording with her. It was phenomenal, and I can't wait to present that podcast to you. So, all right, folks, that's it. That's all I have for this week. Until next time, be well.